everyone, and welcome back to the SquareXO podcast. We are on episode number 97 now, getting ever closer to that old 100. We'll get the kind of boring bit out of the way, so make sure you follow us on Twitter, iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, Instagram, Carrier Pigeon, wherever else you listen to your podcasts and view your kind of media. So we'll jump kind of straight into it. So the first bit, we'll do a bit of news. So the first thing that caught my eye this week was that they're apparently doing different Switch models. Um, so I don't know how you feel about that, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise. I mean, they usually bring out different versions of their handhelds. Certainly, I'm not sure I'll be rushing to go out and get one, given that I've already got a Switch, unless there's a massive improvement on things. But it looks like actually lower specs on one of the models, and
Yeah.
then better specs on the other one. So they're going for kind of a two-tier system. It's not dissimilar to kind of Microsoft and Sony's approach with having their slim versions and their kind of the X and the Pro versions. So maybe they're kind of following on from that.
Yeah, I mean, I get the mini makes sense to me. Having something that's hopefully cheaper and more kind of slightly more accessible with them getting rid of the DS. I think that's a good move. The kind of the pro air quotes version, I'm not sure if there's necessarily a market for it. I suppose they've just brought out Switcher or they're bringing out Switcher, so maybe like alongside that because that'd definitely take advantage of a kind of slightly more powerful machine. But yeah, there's been leaks kind of and stuff. So there was a accessory manufacturer that sent an email to several different kind of media outlets going, "Oh, we're making accessories for a Switch Mini." So from the sounds of it, we're definitely getting at least one new rendition. Now, the next bit of news, I will admit to, I've kind of been playing this before the podcast started recording, is Harry Potter Wizards Unite is out now, which is basically Pokemon Go with Harry Potter, which I'm quite enjoying. I've only played about 10 minutes. I've made my character, well, not even made my character, I've made my name, and I've defeated a couple of magic-y things. I don't even know what I'm doing, but it's fun.
Yeah, yeah, Harry
Yeah,
Potter, great. I'm not sure
not
personally
your
it
kind of
will
thing.
take me away from Pokemon, but because obviously I'm familiar with the Pokemon, I'm not really sure what you're catching in Harry Potter,
From
if
what I
indeed you're
can
catching anything.
gather, there's kind of like magical items have gotten out in the world, and you have to kind of stop them from like doing bad things. Somebody had found Hagrid's umbrella, his magic wand umbrella thing, and you had to kind of get that back off them. I don't know if you're fighting the magic item or the person or the thing that has the item. I'm yet to kind of play it enough, I guess, but it's fun, it's silly, it's free to play, microtransactions, of course, but you don't probably need to, you know, go down that route if you don't want to. But that's another thing that's just come out today. Um, my final bit of news that caught my eye is that WoW Classic has a stress test beta for the next 24 hours starting yesterday. So today is the last day. But that's quite exciting for me that they're kind of stress testing it and stuff. I'm not going to be part of it because I don't have the time. I don't think you're a WoW player, are you?
I'm not, no. Elder Scrolls is my MMO of
Oh,
choice. So,
really?
yes, it
Oh,
is. Yeah,
I tried really hard to get into ESO. It wasn't WoW, and I spent my entire time going, it's not WoW with
yeah. I,
that.
I go through I go through phases with it, to be honest. Where I'll go all in for maybe a month, and I'll get the subscription, and I'll rack up the crowns that you get, which is
Mhm.
kind of the premium currency, and I'll spend some of that, and then I'll get sick of it and not play it for 3 or 4 months, and then I'll go back in hard. But yeah, no, that's the one because it is just enough like Skyrim to keep me involved.
See, I thought I'd love it because I'm a big kind of fan of Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind. But I think it probably just was because it's not WoW, and I was comparing it too much to WoW rather than looking at it as a Skyrim-y style game. But I do the same with World of Warcraft. I will go back to that, go kind of hardcore for several months, and then stop playing it for like a year, and then go back to it. Um, I'm preparing to get back into it with WoW Classic. I have my collector's edition on the way because I was lucky enough to snag one And I'm very excited, but that's not the news anyway. That was all that I've really seen. I've been a little bit out of it this week. I've been very busy, so I've not seen too much on the news. Is there anything that you've seen that's kind of
No,
taken? No.
it's quiet time. Obviously, we're just 1 week past E3, so
Mm.
a lot of the big announcements were done then. So yeah, it's tends to be a quiet time this week, particularly.
You say
Hopefully, it will
quiet.
pick up
All I've
again.
been doing is playing games, like trying to get
Well,
them.
yeah,
Then we'll move on to our topic, which was your kind of suggestion, which I thought was really good. Is kind of streaming services. They are quite literally everywhere at the moment.
yes.
I have very strong feelings about this, but I will let you I'll let you start.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with streaming services per se. I know there are a lot of arguments around ownership of games and preservation and things. I think it's something we will come to accept, as we have with music. And I know there are arguments that with music it's kind of ruined the industry, but we've come to accept it with music. We've come to accept it with TV and film to a certain extent, and I think we will get there with games. Obviously, there is a big issue over the lack of internet service for
Mm,
a lot of people. I mean, I personally am lucky enough to live in London and have very good internet access. So, streaming services are absolutely fine for me. But obviously, there are a lot of people out there who aren't in that position. On the other hand, you know, there will never be fewer people with strong enough internet than there are now. It will always get better. And I think one of the things that Google Stadia is trying to do is to get in there first, basically, and get that mind share uh, right at the outset. Because everyone else is still using traditional consoles, Google Stadia is going uh, a different route. I mean, you can get obviously you need the Chromecast and things
mhm.
if you want to play it on TV, but you don't need. That's obviously a much cheaper entry point than a PlayStation or an Xbox. So if they can get there before PlayStation and Xbox, and they can grab that market share, and certainly be the one that you think about first when it comes to streaming services, when they are the standard, then they will be the ones best placed. Whether they are taking the right approach is is another discussion. I think probably there are some problems with the model that they've got at the moment, but that's as I say, another discussion.
So that was a very articulate answer. I've been always been very quite. I don't like the idea. I do and I don't. I'm in two minds. I like my games. I like to physically own, especially with how much games
Sure.
are. I like, I'm sat looking at a pile of games now, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's there's like probably £600 worth of games just kind of sat. And if that as a digital download is like nothing, you've got no way of kind of going,
Yeah.
that's I spent money on that. And I mean, being a reviewer, and I'm sure you're the same, you get a lot of digital codes, and that's fine. But if I'm physically paying money for something, I kind of like to own it. And I know and not everybody agrees, but I think that's just maybe the collector in me. I've always been a big fan of my big collector's editions, and give me the big statue that I definitely don't have the room for, please. Um,
Yeah, no, I do. I totally get that, and I think that is part of the problem with the Google Stadia model. I think it's much more palatable with something like Xbox Game Pass, where
mm,
you're paying a subscription and you have access to all of these hundreds of games. Whereas with Stadia, where you're paying for them individually, I think it's you much rather have a physical product for something. If you've paid £50 for a game, you want to have the physical game there, and not it to be kind of this
mm.
download in the ether. Whereas if it's something like a subscription where you have access to say 100, 200 games, and there's less of a kind of a close ownership thing going on there. So I think it's a lot more acceptable and under that model.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox Games Pass. I am predominantly a PlayStation person. However, I will tip my hat to them. They have done really good things with that, especially with the new Game Pass Ultimate that gets you Xbox Live and your Game Pass.
Yeah.
Not sponsored, just to clarify. Uh,
Yeah, I mean,
I wish if you guys, if anyone's listening, feel free.
yeah,
But no, they
as I
did a
said
really.
last week, I did sign up to Game Pass Ultimate after the announcement. It's just, and no, that is an absolutely fantastic deal, particularly with gold thrown in.
Mm,
I mean, it kind of blows PlayStation now out of the water completely,
yes,
because it's cheaper and you don't get PlayStation Plus with now. So yeah, it's a much better deal. Although obviously there are more games on PlayStation now, but you don't get the brand new. first party titles like you do with Game Pass on day one. So
I
that's
mean,
definitely
if PS Now threw that in, that would be like just a deal breaker massively. Because can you imagine having a subscription that gets you God of War 2 or whatever it's going to be called day one? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
sign
definitely.
me up for that.
I mean,
Um,
Game Pass hasn't been a value proposition for me previously because I don't really like Halo or Gears, but there are games coming to it that I really do like the look of. So yeah, this was definitely the right time for them to grab my
mm.
subscription personally.
See, I do like Halo and Gears. Gears of War was one of the first kind of shooters, or well, I mean Halo, but then Gears was the first one that I really got into. I remember playing Gears One and just being like, I have a gun and it's a chainsaw. This is fantastic. Um, so in theory, I would be a good person to get Game Pass, but again, for stuff like Gears of War, I want whatever big edition they've got. Give me it. I don't care. Take my money. And but then I suppose on the flip side of that, people who aren't as bothered, who the kind of more casual gamer or somebody who likes the franchise but isn't as invested, or even likes the look of a franchise but isn't sure about it, Games Pass is a really, really fantastic kind of service. I mean, was it Ubisoft have done their UPlay one,
Yep,
which
yep.
we'll see, because that's you get their back catalogue, but anything new you've got to pay for, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I mean, the one it's only on PC and Stadia, in fact. So it's not on console. They haven't announced UK pricing yet, or even I think actually confirmed it's coming to the UK.
Oh, I mean, hope.
Because yeah, because they did say I think parts of Europe, which you would think would be the UK, but it
The
remains to be
world
seen.
revolves around us.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, but I mean, the one thing it does have is that you get the DLC with all of their games as well, which you don't necessarily get on Xbox
Games
on
for
Game
yeah.
Pass. Yeah,
I
so
will say
that is
the
one advantage.
only um downside of Games Pass is they put so Forza Horizon 4, for example, that came out obviously when it came out, but then they do remove it after a little while.
Yeah,
Which I mean, fair play. I guess the kind of whole marketing ploy is that well, not ploy, but the strategy is that you get them interested and then go, well, now you've got to go buy it. If you're that bothered and want to keep
yeah.
it, then um,
Yeah, I mean that is of course the ultimate downside to any subscription model or any streaming model is that things can be removed. I think it's Minecraft Story Mode. There's just been some
yeah, I was
shenanigans
gonna
going on
say
with that recently,
a
which to
lot
be
of
fair
the.
may be tied up in the whole Telltale
Mm.
departure, but yeah, that's always a possibility on these things.
Yeah, I think that's my other concern. I know there was an issue before the whole Minecraft thing, with Guitar Hero Live. Correct me if I'm wrong on that internet. I'm sure you will. One of the Guitar Hero games, Activision had the rights to the songs that they'd sold had ended. They no longer had the rights to sell them. So people who had spent, however much money on these songs for their game, all of a sudden didn't have them anymore.
Yeah,
Which again, that's DLC, so maybe slightly different. But I've always been a bit kind of wary of, but what if, this game gets removed and I've paid for it and now I can't have it anymore? I'm just, terrified of like having my games taken away from me. Really, is what that's
yeah.
coming
I
to.
mean, there are lots of examples of it recently. I mean, Activision again, the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games were taken
Hmm.
off Steam because presumably because of something to do with um, the Disney and the new Marvel Ultimate Alliance game being an exclusive and things. PT on the PlayStation, very famous
Yeah.
example that just kind of disappeared, except for those that luckily had it downloaded. So yeah, it does happen. Um, whether there is some move to make things more sustainable with the subscription model, if that's what they're pushing for. I mean, certainly with Xbox Game Pass, you would hope that all of their first party games would stay available, but
But we'll
who
see, I guess.
knows?
There has to
Yeah,
be, I guess, some kind of framework. If this is the future of gaming, which it possibly looks like it is, we're starting to get consoles that are digital only.
yeah,
I know the Xbox One S, or digital, the SAD hasn't necessarily done amazingly, but there is a market for it there.
Yeah.
People do. A few of my friends will only buy digitally so they can game share and that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, I'd go further and say it's definitely the future of the industry.
yeah.
Unfortunately, there is nothing that both console and game developers want more than for people not to buy games in shops anymore, because yeah, game developers make a much bigger margin on digital purchases,
Mhm.
and they don't want you buying used games because then they don't get
And they
anything
don't get
from
any of
it.
the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, they this is what they all want. Um, they have to balance that with things like internet access. I mean, obviously, Xbox's biggest market is the US, and the US notoriously huge chunks of it have terrible internet access. So yeah, they have to balance things up, and they have to do it at the right time. But yeah, it's I would say 100% it is the future of the industry. I'm afraid.
I remember at E3 as well, somebody announced their streaming service called Orion, and for the life of me, I can't remember. Was it Bethesda?
Yes, it
Yeah,
was, but
I
it wasn't really a streaming service. It was kind of a technology to make things easier to stream, I think, or something
yeah.
like that. It was a
But
bit of an
they were on
odd
about
one.
how it wouldn't your kind of internet wouldn't impact it,
Yeah,
and you'd still get kind of a really good kind of frame and refresh rate regardless, and that kind of piqued my interest because I wonder what the workaround there is, because I have my internet's okay. I get kind of between 15, 20, 25 meg on a good day, and I live in the middle of like a big, well, not a city, it's a town, but there are people around me, my friends who live kind of maybe only 10 miles out, and they get like 2 meg, if
yeah,
that. I think that's my biggest thing is the internet. But if there's a way around that somehow, they didn't really say much. They just kind of showed the video of someone playing. Yeah, no, it was Bethesda because it was Doom. Someone playing the new Doom kind of streamed to a phone, which is an interesting
yeah,
thing. That's the other thing. Kind of, would you want to stream something? Like for me, I have a very lovely television site in front of me. The idea of playing on anything else is almost absurd, and if I go out, I take my Switch, but I know that I understand that I'm very privileged in that fact that I can afford those, so I
yeah,
suppose maybe for other
yeah.
people.
I mean, Fortnite is big on mobile.
Yeah.
So you know, if it's and obviously that's the younger generation, so we say. And if you know, if those are once those kids have grown up and gone on to from Fortnite to Doom, you know, if that's what they're used to playing on, then maybe that's going to be quite a big thing. And again, it's like I said with Stadia, it's getting in there early and
Mm.
being the first ones to do it, and yeah, just being the first one you think of when you want to do something like that. So yeah, maybe it's that generation that they're targeting with it rather than us.
Us, us. Oh no, am I part of us now? I'm no longer. But am I?
Yeah,
Though saying
I
that,
think
I
so.
get ID'd for Red Bull, so
Ah, well,
I'm
there you
I'm
go.
that weird age where I am like nearly 30 years old. However, I look like an infant apparently. And then I hand them my ID, and they look at me and go, "Oh, I'm really sorry." And you're like, "Nope, that's okay. Can I just have my ID back now? Thank you.
I didn't
Bye."
even know you could get IDs for Red Bull.
It's 16, which is even
Is
worse.
it?
If it's an 18, like alcohol, I get it. Challenge 25, all that hoo ha, fine. But yes, Red Bull, energy drinks, even some of the smart waters are a 16 because it's like caffeinated and it's got.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I've been ID'd before for like a can of Red Bull, but it wasn't even for me because I don't drink it. So that's
Okay.
that's the kicker. Yeah,
Well,
or a
there you
lotto
go.
ticket. Yeah, there you go. So I can play both sides here. Can
Yep.
pretend to be more grown up than I actually am. Yeah, so I think that's all. I mean, I don't have anything more to say other than I'm terrified of that future. Please make it work so that I don't lose my games. And also, please still bring out editions where I can have a box if I want it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously open to it. I've got a whole bucket of subscriptions I'm paying for, um, but I do prefer to have the physical game. Like you, I collect random game objects, and which I don't have room for.
Yep.
Um, as long as I imagine they will always bring those out, so there will always be some kind of accompanying
Mhm.
statue or some kind of item, even if they're not bringing out the physical games themselves. I don't want them to go. I mean, there's been a few games recently where they've given you a box for the game with a download code in it.
Yeah, they
That
do
just
that.
seems a bit strange, really. Just be open about it
It's a
and
bit
say,
wasteful, I feel, like, with,
yeah,
with us being kind of at the point where we're kind of screwed with global warming. Maybe don't waste plastic like that. Maybe
yeah,
just
yeah,
let people. Thinking on it though, a lot of, well, say a lot of mainly EA have started releasing collector's editions without games in them
hmm,
now. So
yep,
Battlefield 5 did it, Mirror's Edge. Um, you basically pre-order, and I mean Borderlands 3 is doing it actually. So if you want the big loot chest edition, one, good luck, but two, it doesn't actually come with a game. So you could kind of pick your edition and the console, which is kind
yep.
of, so they've already started doing it, guys.
I tell you,
um,
it's the future.
it is. It's a terrifying future. The robots will take us all.
Yep.
Just make sure to say thank you to Siri. You know, I do. Everyone laughs at me for that, and I said, one day when the robots take over, Siri will maybe go nice on me because I say thank you to her. There you go. Anyway, moving on from my odd uh, habits. We will go over the drop now. So we'll talk about what's coming out kind of this week or is already out because the drop kind of came on a couple of days ago. Um, I haven't heard of a few of these, I will admit. So we've got a game called Another Sight Extended. So I'm guessing that's been previously come out and they've kind of redone it. There's a kind of picture of a very scary looking woman with a very cute cat. So that looks interesting. Kind of a puzzle
Yeah,
style game.
yeah. It reminds me a
Bloodstained.
bit of oh, what was the PlayStation game with the Little Nightmares?
Oh yeah, no, I can see
Yeah, I
that.
think maybe a little bit like that.
I liked Little Nightmares. It was also kind of terrifying though. I wasn't like, I enjoyed it, but I also don't want to ever play it again.
Yes.
Bloodstained. A lot of my friends are really excited about this, and I will admit that it doesn't particularly appeal. It's by people that made a game that I can't remember what it is now, and I'm hoping you know what I'm on about. But from the silence, you don't.
Um, yeah, and
Hmm.
uh,
We are
yeah, no, I
game
can't remember
pros here, guys.
it. Yes,
Castlevania.
yes,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's that genre, Metroidvania, that they call
yeah.
it.
So that's coming out tomorrow, I believe. We have Bring Them Home, which is another little puzzle game. A lot of puzzle games, which I'm a big fan of. I enjoy kind of little chill games that you just sit back and kind of just toddle your way through.
Yeah, low
Uh,
pressure.
yeah. Citizens of Space, which looks very odd. There's a kind of man in a spacesuit with a very smiley face. Um, it doesn't actually tell me what kind of game. I'm going to hazard a guess. It's another puzzle game. I'm going to go out on a limb there. Crash Team Racing, which is out tomorrow. Are you excited about this? Are you not excited about this?
Um, I'll play it if somebody gives it to me.
Yeah.
I'm not rushing out to buy it. No. Yeah,
I
Mario
it's
Kart is my kart game. So,
Yeah, I see. I don't play racing games. I think we've had this conversation before. I don't play
yeah.
well with others. However, I have had a little look at this, and it's fun. The controls are weird, but it is, yeah. No, I think when I say weird, they're kind of different to a lot of other card games.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is probably going to be one that I'm going to pick up and then end up falling out with everyone because of knowing me. Um, Moving on, Crystal Crisis, which is a one-on-one fighting game with colourful falling crystals. So that
Hmm.
sounds like a little hybrid kind of game.
Yeah.
Um, Siberian, the time traveling warrior, which looks a little bit like He-Man to me,
Yep.
which is kind of cool. Judgment, this game I've seen all over the place. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, it's I know a lot of the SquareXO guys were looking forward to it, and
It's
I think we've got a
Yakuza?
review on the way, I think. Yeah.
Yes. People who did Yakuza, which I haven't also played, and everyone has a go at me for that because apparently the Yakuza games are fantastic. Sorry.
Yeah, I started whichever one was on PlayStation Plus recently. I think it was 0,
Zero, yeah.
but I couldn't really get into it, unfortunately.
It looks like the kind of game that I would enjoy, but also the kind of game that I do not have time to enjoy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, one of those. Leisure Suit Larry. Did somebody review this for the site? I feel like.
Yes, I think,
Hmm.
but I think there were. Then I've got a feeling there are two Leisure Suit Larrys
This
out,
is
which
Wet Dreams Don't Dry. So this is a new one,
what a
um,
classic, classic,
which
classic.
looks. So I was shown a trailer to this recently, and it's the kind of game that you go, "Who on earth would make this?" But also, I kind of want to play it.
Mm,
Um,
yes. Well, it's a classic series,
mhm.
and yeah, not
Iconic,
much more
some
to
might
say
say.
about that anymore. Yes, we did review it. We gave it 6 out of 10.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go, guys. 6
Yeah.
out of 10. If you enjoyed the previous one, I'm sure you would also play this one. I don't want to say enjoy because I don't know, those games are weird. Anyway, moving on. Luna, which is a really cute little puzzle game that I really want to review, but I don't have the time to. So I might just have to buy it and play it like a normal person. What on earth is that? Mars Alive, which is a VR game, which is open world, kind of you're an astronaut on Mars. So that might be kind of a cool VR option if anyone's got a VR out there. And then we have a couple of most of these are kind of little indie things that I've never heard of. Mini Mech Mayhem. Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah. It's also a VR one as well, I think.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
There's like a cute little mechs, and that bunny reminds me of Diva from Overwatch a little bit.
Mm.
Probably just got the color scheme, but Project Lux, which looks very sweet. Looks like it probably will be a visual novel. Oh, it's a PSVR game. Lots of VR games here,
Yeah.
which is good. It's good to see that it getting the support that it deserves, rather than kind of.
Yeah, definitely. I think we were all worried about
Mm.
it doing a Vita, but
Well,
yeah,
I actually got rid
it's
of my VR because there wasn't anything coming out for it, and now I'm a little bit regretting that. But oh well.
still got mine somewhere. I
No,
don't think
I
it's
just
been
mine.
touched since I've had got the Switch.
I was gonna say mine was just sat under the TV for a really long time, unfortunately. But hey ho, maybe I'll get one when they bring out because they'll do a new model. I feel like with the PS5 or whatever it's going to be called. And there's a physics puzzle game called Slum Ball, again VR, which is really cool. And then not finally, there's two more. I'll do the final PSVR game, which I know that Joe is very excited about, is Vacation Simulator. Have
Oh,
you played Job Simulator?
I have, yes.
Oh, I love that
Yeah.
game. It's stupid. Like you're doing things that people do for jobs and it's entertainment and that makes no sense, but it's still really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that some reason Job Simulator makes more sense to be than Vacation Simulator because,
I feel
you
like
know,
it's still gonna have that really silly kind of humor where you're like, is this just this, is this ridiculous or is this actually just funny? Bit of both, probably.
yeah.
And then we finally have Underworld Ascendant, not Ascendant, which is combat stealth and magic. Oh, that sounds like the kind of game that I would like.
Mm.
I might have to have a look at that one. But yeah, so that is what's coming out or kind of came out this week or the end of this week. Obviously tomorrow, well, depending on when this goes live, Friday has kind of Crash Team Racing, Bloodstained. Rico comes out tomorrow as well, on Friday. This will probably go out tomorrow, and then everyone will be like, "That's Saturday. What are you on about?"
It's fine. It's
um,
Friday. All
it's fine.
Friday.
Today is Friday. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, wait. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow's. Oh dear. What day is this? I don't know. Who am I? I'm so everyone at home is just like, is she okay? Does she need a moment? Probably. Moving on very swiftly. What we've been playing this week. So I have been playing a lot of things that I'm not allowed to talk about.
Ah.
But I had the one thing that my review is up for it, so I can talk about this. Is River Bond, which is a game that I had no idea what it was. I was kind of sent the code because I wasn't working on anything at the time, and Joe was like, "Have you got a bit of spare time?" Um, Took me probably 5 hours in total, and I now have the platinum for it, so it is a very short game. However, it's really fun. It's this little kind of hack and slash with, like, a gun mechanics, little kinda dungeony style crawler. It's all, like, voxel graphics, but the entire world is destructible other than the kinda ground. All the kind of things in games, the plants and the, boxes and anything like that, you absolutely annihilate it. As well as the enemies, and it's just kind of fun. It's a bit mindless. That probably was a story to it, but I didn't really pick much upon that. I just kind of went through and killed the bad guys, and tried to do it in the quickest time I could and get the most amount of points. But that was quite fun. If you need something to just kind of chill, kick back, it is couch co-op as well. I preferred not playing it co-op. I just found when I played with my other half, he just kinda got in the way a little bit, and he would, like, try and run off to a bit, and I was like, "We're not done here yet. There's things to find." But
Yeah.
if you are so inclined, and unlike me, if you can actually play other games with other people without wanting to murder them, it's like 18 quid, I think, so it's not super expensive either.
Okay. Sounds
But
good.
what about you? What have you been playing this week?
Well, I've been trying to finish up Assassin's Creed Odyssey latest
Oh,
DLC, which I have mixed feelings about, to
yeah.
be honest. It's there's a lot of content. Every time I think I'm getting towards the end of it, some new quests pop up in very Assassin's Creed Odyssey style.
That sounds about right.
Obviously, I love Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I love Cassandra as a character. I'm finding the plot a bit not particularly interesting on the DLC, I have to say, despite the fact that it is all Greek mythology, and that's, as I said last week, Greek mythology is completely my thing. Um, yeah, it's I don't know. There's just something about it that isn't really grabbing me compared to the main plot lines of Odyssey.
Okay.
But that's the way it goes. Other
Mm.
than that, I've been catching up on some older stuff, and on your recommendation, I played What Remains of Edith Finch,
Ooh,
and
what did you think?
I really enjoyed it.
Oh,
I really liked it. It's yeah, I do really like those games where you just kind of wander around and explore. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is a huge favorite of mine as well. Kind of similar sort of thing. But yeah, I know I really enjoyed it, and I loved exploring the mystery
oh, I'm glad.
perhaps. Yeah.
So I played that, it was last year, probably about a year ago now, actually. And if you'd have told me this time last year that I would have enjoyed a walking simulator game, I probably would have laughed at you quite a lot.
Yeah.
I've always kind of been, I like my big, shiny, fancy games that are, epic adventures and 60 hours and etc. And when Rebecca Stowe, who used to write for SquareXO, she's a friend of mine, so she was like, "Oh, you have to play this game. I have it. You can borrow it." And I kind of was like, "You know what? It's a couple of hours long. I will, you know, I'll humor you. I'll play it. Fine." And I got home and I put it in and I played it through the entire way in the first sitting. I made dinner and then I played it through again a second time. I have fallen in love with that game, and whenever anyone mentions either wanting to play it or not having played it, I tell them you have to. It's this harrowing story that is you just kind of need to know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. I love sorry, that was your
Yeah.
game,
No,
but I got a bit carried away.
that's
It's
absolutely fine.
such a good game. I loved
Yeah,
it.
no, I sat down and did it all in one sitting as well, which was it's kind of why I delayed on it because I was waiting for kind of 2-3 hours
Mm,
that I knew I wasn't going to be interrupted, and that I could just plow straight through. And yeah, I think it's definitely the best way to experience it,
yeah,
because you do just want to carry on through and just and get all the way to the end and solve the mystery.
I just think the way that it deals with a lot of the topics in it. I don't want to say too much without
Mhm.
spoiling it.
Yeah,
But the way that it touches on the topics and it tells these kind of almost these kind of like micro stories within a story. It's so well done.
yeah, and I
Any of
think
you out there,
the variety of gameplay you get in it as well,
hmm yeah,
because those micro stories are all told in very different ways
it's just
and
so
some very
so well
clever
done.
ways. Yeah, yeah, no, it's great.
If anyone out there hasn't played it, and if you got it on PS Plus last month, I believe,
Yeah,
and probably moaned about it with everyone else, just take a couple of hours, play it. I promise you, you will not regret it. If you do, you can come and yell at me. I don't care, but I promise you, you won't.
don't
Um,
invite them to do that because there's going to be someone who
I mean,
will
that's
do
fine.
that.
You can yell at me from the internet. I'm sure I probably heard worse.
Okay.
No, I haven't given anything a bad review yet, so no one's actually been particularly mean to me. Yeah, and maybe that's it. I've got to give everything a really good review score.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe I'm just lucky. I've not read anything bad, but yeah. Hmm. Anything
Yeah.
else, or was it just the two that
Um,
you were saying?
just well, very quickly after our conversation last week, I did start a new Skyrim game on
Oh
Switch.
no! Oh dear!
I know.
Oh, I mean, like that's good because Skyrim's amazing, but you
Yeah,
you just do you even have the time for that? Like I don't.
not really, but
No.
well, it's a little bit like ESO. I'll go full pelt on it for a couple of weeks, and then I will go away for a while. I think I must have started Skyrim about 25 times and kind of finished the main quest line maybe 4 times.
I've only ever finished it once, and I've probably
Mhm.
done about the same amount. I just get, like, distracted with everything. I kinda go off and wander and, yeah, I love that game.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Elder Scrolls 6. It's just gonna be so good. Like, and it's gonna be on next gen as well, so it's gonna be even better.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
it's
gonna
gonna be
be
great.
phenomenal. It really is. Are you gonna be, have you got the new DLC for Elder Scrolls?
I haven't yet,
Oh,
no.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, I probably I'm in one of the lull periods on it at the moment where I'm not
Ah,
playing it, so I suspect next time I play it, I will grab that. I will keep an eye out for it on sale, I think, and that may be the impetus to go back to it.
there's dragons, I heard.
There are dragons, yep,
I will say, my as much as ESO doesn't really appeal, or I've not really enjoyed it, their trailers are like almost akin to kind of
yeah,
your Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft. They are so the cinematic trailer they put up at E3 with the Khajiit and the dragon and
yeah, yeah,
oh with the Necromancer, is that the new class?
yes,
It makes me go, I want to play that every time without fail. I go, I want to play that game again, but I know that I don't enjoy it. It's frustrating. Please stop.
yeah, yeah. It's
Um,
always the way with cinematic trailers, isn't it? You
I
think, "Oh,
know.
well, this looks really exciting," and then you realise, "Actually, this
This
isn't
is
the
not.
game."
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people probably find it that exciting. I
Yeah.
personally, if it's not WoW, it's not an MMO. But anyway, on that note, I think we'll wrap it up there. A bit of a shorter one today, but I think we're just getting back into the swing of things. If you guys at home have any suggestions on kind of topics you want us to talk about, questions, I know we put a tweet out earlier about questions, but I don't think anyone replied, which you break our hearts, guys. We're very sad about that now. Yeah, any kind of ideas you want us to chat about, please, fire us kind of over on Twitter. Um, Make sure you follow us again on all the places that you listen to your podcast, like, subscribe, kind of notification bell, all of that good stuff, so you know when we're posting things and when we're going to kind of supply you with this top tier content. But yeah, so that's it all from us today. So bye.
Bye bye.